So hi Max, how are you?
Hi Beth, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. I absolutely love the dive. I thought it was beautiful, but also very, very stressful.
Thank you. That was the idea.
And it's my understanding that this is your first English language film, but it's also an adaptation of a Swedish film. What was it about the story that inspired you to adapt it? And then also why in English?
Well, I did a lot of scuba diving myself in my life, and I love the ocean. I love scuba diving, and when I was offered the script, my first reaction was no, like, I don't want to do a remake. A remake sucks most of the time. But then I read the screenplay and I thought, wow, I have to do this. The opportunity to do a film in the ocean and, I don't know, to have the opportunity to give this immersive experience in this element in the water. That's something, I was passionate about so many years, and to convey this to an audience, I thought, okay, this is something I have to do. And yeah, that was the origin of it.
That's awesome. As someone who loves the water so much, what was it like working on a story that's going to scare people and potentially not let them go into the water?
I have to admit, I have some bad feelings about that because, I didn't want to do a film that scares people off of scuba diving. And now there's two sides to the film. I wanted to make it also as beautiful as possible, and also give like, to not only, to not only be dark and tense. I wanted to show as much of the ocean as possible, which also makes it much more complicated to shoot it. If you go dark and dark and dark, it's much easier. But if you see something, it's much more challenging, because there are much more elements you have to consider when shooting it. But yeah, I still kind of hope that it's not that people will scuba dive, because I have to say now, to make it up for it, scuba diving is amazing. Please do it. Please try it. It's the best thing you can do.
Awesome. Um, and since most of the film is underwater, where did you film at?
It's shot on Malta. Most of it. So we had two parts. Like, everything that's shot in the ocean and on land is in Malta, or the neighbor island called Gozo. And then we shot everything that is actually at the rock where she's stuck in. It's shot in a tank in Germany.
Nice, nice. And do you only have two actresses in this film? What was it like working with Louisa and Sophie?
It was great. I mean, the whole idea was that I was so attracted by the idea that it's such an isolated thing and such an isolated story. It's such a simple story of two sisters. And yeah, I mean, I can't emphasize enough how great the performances of Sophie and Louisa are, because it's so difficult to act underwater under those circumstances. And they didn't do any scuba diving before, so they had to learn it for the film.
Oh, wow.
And scuba diving is, it's amazing, but it's also, it can be terrifying if you have one bad experience, especially in the first days or weeks of training or learning it. Then, it's like a switch in your head, and you can then you're afraid to go in the water ever again, so to say. And I was always nervous that I get the phone call now that they want to skip it and I want to drop off the project, because they had one of those experiences. But luckily enough, they developed a similar passion to diving, and they loved it, and they became really, really good. I mean, what they are doing underwater there, I could not do that, and most of the people can't do. I mean, of course, we really trained them a lot with an amazing underwater crew and underwater trainer in Malta. But everything they do, I mean, when they take off the mask, and when the water has to float out of the full face mask, it's all real. There's no VFX, there's no CGI, everything's real. The only VFX in the film is actually the rock fall itself. Everything else is real.
That's really cool. I didn't realize that that much of it was real. Um,
Yeah.
all right. I got the wrap up signal, so I guess we're gonna end here. But again, I love the film. I thought it was beautiful, very, very stressful, but I loved it.
Thank you very much, Beth. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Bye.